The toy my daughter begged for chewed her finger off. My daughter's finger is gone because of a toy I bought her. That's the truth of it. I can dress it up, I can try to explain it, but when I close my eyes, all I see is the blood on the plastic and the goddamn smiling face of that doll. We don't have much. It's just me and Zoya, my little girl. She just turned 4. Money is more than tight. It's a python wrapped around my chest, squeezing a little harder every time a bill shows up. But Zoya, she's the reason I can breathe. She doesn't know about the python. She just knows cartoons and cereal and the sun coming through our apartment window. Most of her toys come from a dusty bin at the back of a thrift store. Mismatched blocks, a stuffed bear with one eye. She loves them all the same. But then she saw the commercial. I was in the kitchen, trying to figure out how to stretch a box of pasta for 3 meals, when I heard her shriek my name. Not a scared shriek, but pure, unadulterated excitement. I ran in, my heart doing a panicked little flip, and found her pointing a shaky finger at the TV. "Mama, look. Look on the screen." A group of kids were gathered around a doll with huge, sparkling blue eyes and rosy cheeks. They fed it little plastic snacks from a tiny spoon. The doll's mouth moved, its cheeks puffed out. It was advanced. The commercial ended with a jingle sung by a kids' choir. Fun to feed, a friend indeed. It's Munchin Melody. "I want her, Mama," Zoya breathed, her eyes fixed on the screen. "Please?" She eats. The price tag flashed at the bottom of the screen. $25. It felt like a punch to the gut. That was groceries for half a week. But Zoya's eyes, God, her eyes. They were locked on me, full of a desperate hope that only a 4-year-old can have. And it was payday. A meager payday, but still. "We'll see, sweet pea," I mumbled, my throat tight. "She looks very special." I tried to forget about it. I really did. But for the next 2 days, all she talked about was Melody. She'd feed her one-eyed bear, whispering, "Here you go, Melody." She'd draw pictures of a smiling doll with a huge, open mouth. So I did it. I caved. After a brutal shift at work, I went to the superstore, walking through the bright, loud toy aisle like a zombie. I found the display, a wall of pink boxes, each with a Munchin Melody smiling out. I held the box in my hands. The weight of it, the price of it, made my stomach churn. But the thought of Zoya's face made me walk to the checkout. When I got home, she was waiting by the door. The moment she saw the box, she let out a sound I'd never heard before, pure joy made audible. She ripped it open on the living room floor, her small hands tearing at the cardboard with ferocious excitement. Melody was perfect. Her hair was soft, her dress was crisp. Zoya pushed a little button on her back. The doll's eyes blinked open. "Hi, I'm Melody. I'm so hungry." A sweet, synthesized voice chirped. Zoya giggled, a sound that melted all my anxieties away. For the rest of the night, it was just Zoya and Melody. She fed her the little plastic peas, and the doll made little chewing sounds. It was worth it, every damn cent. That night, after I tucked Zoya into bed, Melody propped on the pillow beside her, I collapsed on the couch. The house was finally quiet. I must have drifted off, because I woke up with a stiff neck to the sound of static from the baby monitor on the coffee table. I was about to turn it off when I heard something through the fuzz. A voice. Humming. It was a strange, tinny, off-key version of the lullaby I sing to Zoya every single night. The one my own mother used to sing to me. No one else knows it. My blood went cold. It had to be interference, right? Someone else's monitor. Then, through the static, the humming stopped. A whisper, clear and cold and synthesized. Zoya. I shot up from the couch, my heart pounding against my ribs. I crept to her doorway, peering into the dark room. Zoya was fast asleep, her little chest rising and falling rhythmically. Melody was sitting on the pillow, its head tilted slightly, its painted-on smile looking like a smirk in the dim glow of the nightlight. It's nothing, I told myself. It's a faulty wire. It's a $5 monitor picking up a trucker's CB radio. It's anything but what I thought it was. I walked in, my hand trembling as I reached for the doll. I found the switch on its back and flipped it to OFF. I needed the silence. The next morning, the memory felt distant and stupid, like a bad dream. Zoya was her usual bright self. She was playing in the living room while I made breakfast, chattering away to Melody. I heard her running around, laughing. Then there was a sudden thud, followed by a sharp gasp. I peeked around the corner. She had tripped over the rug and dropped Melody. The doll lay face down on the hardwood floor. "Oh," Melody, Zoya cried, scooping her up. "I'm so sorry." "I'm sorry." She cradled the doll, stroking its hair. She turned it over in her hands, checking for scuffs. And then the doll's eyes blinked on. I hadn't turned it back on. "I know I didn't. You hurt Melody," it chirped. The voice was the same, bright and cheerful, but the words felt like ice water in my veins. Zoya's face fell. "I'm sorry," she whispered again, her little hand reaching out to pat the doll's cheek in apology. "It's okay," Melody said, her head tilting. "Now Melody has to eat." Before Zoya could pull her hand back, the doll's mouth opened and closed. The scream that came out of my daughter was not a sound a child should ever make. It was a raw, animal noise of pure agony. I ran. The 3 steps from the kitchen to the living room felt like a mile. I saw Zoya on the floor, on her knees, trying to pull her hand away from the doll. But the doll was holding on. Its jaw, the one designed for munching on plastic peas, was clamped down on her index finger. It wasn't just biting, it was grinding. A low, powerful whirring sound came from inside its plastic body, the sound of a motor working against resistance. A cheerful, tinkling jingle started to play, the doll's signature feeding song, a horrific soundtrack to the scene in front of me. Blood was starting to well up, bright red against Zoya's pale skin and the doll's pink plastic face. I saw the flash of white bone as the first knuckle gave way with a wet, crunching sound. The doll's jaw worked methodically, its internal gears grinding flesh and bone into a red pulp. For 1 second, I was frozen. My brain couldn't process it. The happy jingle, the whirring motor, my daughter's screams, the coppery smell of blood filling the air. Then something snapped. I launched myself forward, screaming Zoya's name. My hand slapped at the doll's back, searching for the switch. My fingers were slick with my own daughter's blood. The plastic was smooth, unyielding. I couldn't find it. Zoya was wailing, a constant high-pitched shriek of pain and terror. Finally, my thumb caught on the tiny, recessed nub of the power switch. Click. The whirring stopped. The jingle cut off mid-note. The jaw went slack. Melody released what was left of my daughter's finger. It wasn't a finger anymore. It was a mangled stump of shredded meat and splintered bone, pouring blood onto our cheap beige carpet. Zoya collapsed into my arms, sobbing, clutching her ruined hand to her chest. The doll lay on the floor, silent. A smear of blood and tissue was caked around its cheerful, smiling mouth. The emergency room was a blur. I remember wrapping Zoya's hand in a dish towel. I remember driving, my hands shaking so hard I could barely hold the wheel. I remember screaming at a nurse to see us now, my voice cracking. They couldn't save it. There was nothing left to reattach. They took her into surgery, cleaned the wound, and stitched it closed. She has a nub now. My 4-year-old daughter has a nub where her finger should be. It's been 3 days. We're home. Zoya is quiet. She hasn't touched a toy. At night, she wakes up screaming. I called the company that makes the doll. I found their number online. It went straight to a generic voicemail. I tried their corporate headquarters, their distribution center, every number I could find. Voicemail. 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 It's like the company doesn't exist. The doll is in a garbage bag in the trunk of my car. I took the batteries out, but I can't bring myself to throw it away. Not yet. I feel like I'm going insane. I keep replaying it in my head. The jingle. The whirring sound. I don't know where else to turn. I have to ask. Has anyone heard of a toy called Munchin Melody? Has anything like this ever happened? Please, someone tell me what this thing is. Tell me I'm not losing my mind.